Today is September 24th. It's closer to 10 a.m. in the morning, and the year is 2024. So I keep saying the year because my hope is that I'm gonna keep making these videos in the years to come also. So I do add the date on the title as well, but since I make these videos daily, I tend to say the date. Also, it's part of, excuse me, also it's part of my, so that I have my own awareness of making these videos, because in so many ways I do think that these videos are one of the ingredients that is changing me in a good way. It's holding me accountable, and I'm able to work on myself. So it's interesting, the other day it was Sunday. So let me talk about my progress first, because I think that's what I used to do in the many videos in the recent months. And I think that I noticed that that does help me to stay more accountable to myself. So if I were to compare the day after day, I don't think yesterday was something where I would say I made a progress, but for months in the past, if I were to compare, there was a little progress, I would say, because I had some realization that a year ago I would not have had. We can have frustration and whatnot, depending on other people's behavior around us. But like I was talking about in yesterday's video, but when maybe some emergency situation happens or something, we can't expect the same sort of urgency or the way we may handle it, somebody else may handle it differently. And that is the flexibility we need to work on to grow in ourselves. Because and some of the books that talk about if somebody is bothering us so much, it's not that somebody necessarily, it's that part in our mind is not healed or has some maybe trauma is a big word in this case, but has some experience from the past, or it may not be even from this life. If you believe in reincarnation, it could be from prior life, or where some of it doesn't make sense in this life, but the soul has this deep hurt from those in the past that this still affects. So, but we are living this life, so it kind of, we are the only people who can figure out how to live this life and not getting affected by those external factors. So I talk about this a lot, the feeding the subconscious, or the unproductive side of us. I'm not using the word negative because I'm really trying to watch my words these days. So unproductive side and the productive side, right? So this unproductive side looks for those stressful and all of those experiences, and it in fact tries to generate more of that because it craves for those, whereas on this side it's the positive uplifting words and positive uplifting emotions. And Tony Robbins would say that our mind is not wired, or our brain is not wired to make ourselves happy. It is wired to make ourselves survive, which means it's always looking for it. It's always looking for the threat. It's interesting that with so many revolution happening, including AI and whatnot, we don't have our brain did not have the evolution to keep up with that, right? So our brain still works like in that survival mode that for centuries it has been I didn't check my teeth after eating my breakfast. Hopefully it is clean. Anyway, yeah, I can't keep this video, it's pretty raw, so anyway, it's fine. So yeah, our brain works like as if it was centuries ago, and it gets into the survival zone when a threat happens. But anyway, so the realization is what I would say made progress, that because I keep talking about this thing, and it's important to remember that we all are in our own journey, and when time comes and when things happen, to survive also we learn. Each of us has a different way of learning, and each of us have a different speed of learning. So people around us, we might think why they don't make the progress that we are making, and they may agree with you, they may not agree with you that you're making progress or not, but in your heart you know. And also if you're talking to 10 people and if 9 of them are saying that you're making progress and one person is saying that you're not, so you know where the truth lies, like 9 people can't be wrong and one person can't be right. But anyway, so it's important to remember that, and that is something that I would not be thinking a year ago, where remembering that each person has their own learning style, each person has their own speed, and I think some of that is to do with the experiences that we have been through in our lives. So looking back where I was at the end of last year to now, the way I evolved, I know in my own mind, the way I evolved, I could not even imagine. And outer world have not changed much, but the inner world, where 10 months down the line, the learning, the growth, the resilience, the strength that I built, and I still need to do a lot, because there are days I feel strong and resilient, and there are days I feel crappy. But and that's the truth. But I try my best for the crappiness to not continue, more than a few hours, whereas in the past I would continue for days. There's a Tony Robbins rule. He has it as a 90 seconds rule, and I was talking to a friend of mine about this last Sunday, and and we both like his teachings and the subconscious mind and all of that. We talk about it a lot, so that day was very interesting as we were talking about that. So the concept is that for Tony Robbins, because he's a master at this, of course, so he talks about our mind goes in peak state and the valley state, right? So it's peak, valley, or sometimes, you can stay longer in the peak state and stay longer in the valley state, depending on how long you allow yourself to suffer. So suffering is in the valley, and the peak is when you're happy and excited and all those positive emotions. So he says that in the past, it would take him hours. In our case, I guess it would take us days to be sad or suffer about something. But then his thought process is that life is too short to waste those hours in suffering. But instead, you can pull your mind up to get to that peak state, and so that you are having a positive life experience more rather than suffering. And for him, he says that he has worked on himself to the point that he allows himself only 90 seconds. So if he's in the valley state, is feeling sad, suffering for something, he allows himself 90 seconds and he pulls himself out. Now, in our case, 90 seconds may not be possible, but reducing the time that we suffer is one measure of real good progress, to see how we can reduce the valley state. And from I have listened to many of his talks, and I'm supposed to attend a virtual session. He has this popular session called Unleash the Power Within, UPW, Unleash the Power Within. It's a friend of mine, she signed up for it, the virtual session in November. And multiple people are allowed to attend, so she told me that I could attend with her, so that'll be awesome. But anyway, so in a different video, he covers that how to, become happy or whatnot. So I kind of combine these points. So I'm like, okay, you are in valley state, you have to pull yourself up, but how can you pull yourself up is something. He uses this concept as a recipe. So the recipe concept is that if somebody had mastered the recipe of chocolate cake, say they worked on it 25 years to master it, and they created a recipe, and once you have that recipe in your hand, you can make the same chocolate cake, which will taste the same, which did not take you 25 years, and it took you a day, or if you'd have to do 2 tries, it took you a few days. So it's that recipe. You need to figure out what is that recipe that works for you to pull yourself up from that valley to the peak state. And for different people, the recipe could be different. Like for me, that recipe is when I'm in a valley state, meaning I'm sad, I take some positive action. And the positive action could be, for me, like going to the gym. So when I do some physical exercise, that helps me to start feeling better a little bit. So then that's one recipe, and there could be multiple recipes. And when the weather is nice, I go out for a walk, and that also helps me to get to that peak state. And it may not be like fully in a happier zone. From the valley, even if you can, it's not going down, but going up a little bit, that's like an upward direction. It's still better. So yeah, it's like trying to find some productive things that you can do that will make you happy, that will pull you towards the peak is what's important. And for different people, again, it could be different. You just have to find out what it is, and not going for things that you know is not going to help. For example, eating a pie, eating some donuts or cookies might make you feel good in the short term, but in the longer term, that'll make you sad, because that will add to the weight gain and all that, which I had in the recent months, and that's why I'm trying hard to not do that. Anyway, so that was an interesting chat I had with my friend on Sunday, and those are the things that is really, really helpful. If you have community, if you have friends or your partner, whoever, you talk about these things that generates positive energy and excites you. It's good, try to do that. Because for me, when I talk about these things, spiritual talk or self-help, these things, like, my time just flies, because this is something that helps with generating positive energy for me. So you just have to find out what those things are, and that'll help you to stay in that high frequency zone. And the high frequency zones are where we feel better. And what's going on in our internal world, from outside nobody would know. Yeah, from our expression, body language, people might know a little bit, but not fully. So it's only us, at least not yet. When AI progresses in the future, then it's a different story. There might be devices or something where people would know exactly what you're thinking. That is scary. But anyway, so for now, for us to manage our emotions, and I said in the past, I would say control our emotions rather than manage our emotions, is what I would say now, because I think the word control, they're controlling our emotion or controlling others' emotion or whatnot. We can't really control anything. It's like, and the word itself kind of has some, I don't know, I feel like it has some tight rigor around it that I don't know, doesn't feel right. So manage means where it brings, I don't know, some sort of flexibility. You manage, and because I don't know, yeah. So I think the way it came to my mind is the easiest way to explain is control kind of makes it think like it has to be perfect, whereas manage means, you try your best to manage and be flexible. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I think that works well with our emotions and our mind. Anyway, so yesterday we had a little weird thing happening where Alice's school gave us a call. She was not feeling good, so I had to go pick her up, but thankfully it was nothing too bad. She had tummy ache, headache. She was not feeling good, but thankfully she's good today. She went back to school. So I was working on some things that I'll continue doing today. This week has been, there's no sun, but I see the cloud with the overcast, just like yesterday. I see the tree, Mother Earth, and I'll probably do some I'll do the mantra and then finish the video and get going with my thing. I can change. I trust in God. Speak positive, love, peace. Stay positive, kind, forgive. And positive in all situations. Let go. Be strong, resilient, kind, compassionate. Yeah, I kind of did it a little quietly today, but this is important. And I'll very quickly do a few deep breathing and do the intention setting and visualization. Today it's a little cold in the house, so that's why I'm wearing this flannel shirt. It's actually getting close to, in a couple of months it'll get cold. It's September now, September 24th. I look ahead in the calendar and 3 months down the line today will be Christmas Eve, and I'm a big fan of Christmas, so that's why I was looking ahead this morning. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will make the next video most likely tomorrow morning, unless I make any other short ones during the day.